Hey everybody, it's Carlos from Roleplaying Podcast. I got Mike on a mic as always.
Yeah.
And special guest, local writer, creator, and all around heavy metal guru, Travis.
Nice. I like that intro.
And today we're going to talk about, Travis is going to bring us through some Castles and Crusades, not to be confused with something that sounds like that. This has been in our shelves for a while, not the core books, because for whatever reason I let the core books lapse. But years ago we had a group that played Castles and Crusades, and so I had all these supplements, I got everything, and then the core books went away, and then I didn't find any more, or I didn't bother to carry it. Well, then with recent events of everybody like looking for alternative types of games, I kind of did a little research. I'm like, oh, Castles and Crusades, they can get me something. And I forgot, I think I dealt with them directly or something before. So I'm like, I had an account. So I call them up. I'm like, hey, can I get some stuff? They're like, sure. So I brought it back in. I got all, you need the core books for the, yeah, right? So, but you know more about it than I do, but I take it away. Travis.
Castles and Crusades is a game that's actually been around quite a while, about 20 years.
No.
Yeah.
No. Really? I thought it was like recent.
No, it's been around quite a while.
At least I'm older than it by a couple years.
So what Castles and Crusades is a version, basically it uses the old D20 3rd edition mechanics and system for its base rule set. So it's D20, add a modifier, hit a target number. Very simple.
So kind of like not OSR, but kind of OSR.
Well, it is content wise,
okay.
and the feel of how it plays. The best way I could describe it is, it feels like a mechanically modernized version of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and that is what the intention of the
okay, got it.
So it's basically using the dice system for 3rd edition to play in a style of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, I played a couple sessions of it at Gamehole Con with the company, with people that work for the company. Chuck Cumbaugh, he's the community manager there. Super nice guy, super friendly guy. He ran White Plume Mountain, which is a classic adventure for AD&D, and it felt like playing White Plume Mountain with AD&D with a few minor
using Castles and Crusades.
And he ran it right out of the book. He didn't even have to. He could just like in his head do conversions for stuff right out of the book. He didn't even have to, right out of the adventure. He didn't have to like do a major rewrite or anything of it so that it fit. It just automatically pretty much ports straight over. There's some slight differences, particularly around abilities and feats. It does not use the abilities and feats system of 3rd edition. It uses what they call their siege engine. That's some acronym. I forget what it means.
Yes, I've heard of it.
But it's basically what it is. It's instead of using, say you want to do something that would normally be covered by a feat in 3rd edition or Pathfinder, basically, what you would do as a game master running Castles and Crusades is think about what attribute or ability score or ability like dexterity or strength that would be associated with that feat. Like somebody's going to cross a tightrope or swing on a chandelier and jump off onto the giant crocodile's head and drive a sword in while they're doing it or something. Mm-hmm. You would take the bonus for the ability score, the character's level, and if there's any associated skill or something like that, any bonus, basically add any bonuses, you roll a die, and if it's over the difficulty rating, the challenge rating that the game master decides that action would take, then you succeed in doing it.
So like a first level guy only gets a +1.
Right.
And then a 10th
Plus
level.
an ability.
Yeah.
So if they have like a
But
plus
the
2 for the ability
Okay,
score, or
but
whatever it is.
But a 10th level guy with the plus 10
Yes.
on top of everything. Okay, so
Right.
okay,
Right.
that's actually that's not too bad.
So it's a fairly easy way to adjudicate it rather than trying to remember all does this thing stack? Does that all the tree of feats and things that you have with 3rd edition or Pathfinder? It simplifies it and makes the game much, much faster to run and easier to run.
So you don't need to know anything about it. You can play this. Like if you've never played a role-playing game, you can pick this up. Well, not like this.
I would say it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Okay.
But it is, I think, compared to, say, 3rd edition, where the intention of the designers was for the players to know exactly how the mechanism of the game was going to be applied to every decision before they even told the game master what they were doing. This game's a little bit more of a return back to the AD&D approach of describe for the game master what you're going to do in normal language. The game master tells you what die you need to roll and what target you need to roll.
Yeah.
So that rather than it being a player to the game player using the mechanism of the game as how they're going to interact with the setting, with whatever the situation is. The game master, they're interacting with the game master, who then decides what rules they're going to use.
So that is the best description of what I find wrong with some gameplay. That whole thing where you just said, like, the player knows all the numbers and he creates he creates all the formulas for it and says, okay, this is what I'm going to do and here's what I need to roll.
Right.
And it kind of takes away the storytelling of it.
Well, it takes away the sort of fictional. It takes away the experience piece of the game.
That's a good description of what the problem is with some of these games like that.
And that I think is, to me, was the big switch from TSR D&D to Wizards of the Coast D&D.
Yeah,
and this game came out at a point when that was being recognized by the players and by the people that were involved, and that was also at a point where Gary Gygax had been out of the game business or game hobby or been very quiet in it for quite a while. And they brought him back in, and he was very involved. He was very involved with this product and very involved with a lot of the adventures.
So he worked on I'm not saying he worked on this set, but he worked on Castles Crusades.
Yeah, he did some stuff for Castles and Crusades.
I wonder if they gave him credit in here.
The Gygax family and Trollord Games are big. They cooperate with each other on a lot of things.
It's funny.
They do a lot of stuff with each other. Luke is working with them for some of their stuff that they're releasing right now.
They published some stuff from him, didn't they?
Yeah.
Recently I saw.
Yep.
It's funny. I just noticed on this cover, this is the D&D, Advanced D&D.
It is.
It's their interpretation of it. Yeah.
And if you look at the
I'm
art,
so dumb.
If you look at the art through those books too, if you compare that art to some of the more current art in other fantasy role-playing games, that is a lot closer to the art that we saw in the late 80s part, when the D&D books, AD&D books had the orange spine, when you have the Jeff Easley stuff, Elmore, Parkinson, those artists, or the early second edition era, when a lot of that art is, you don't see huge, anime style swords that are, with enormous or ridiculous spiky armor. No. You see characters with like sort of realistic fantasy, but realistic depictions of characters.
Yeah, functional characters. Because even on the cover, it looks like it's not flashy or nothing. It looks like you could tell these are henchmen. You could tell it's a fighter. You could tell this is a ranger.
Yep.
It's not hard to like what is going on.
So aesthetic. So in terms of like their adventures and aesthetically in the art, it is very much a classic AD&D early to mid 80s style of game, just using
I'm glad you told me that because now I know how to mark it.
Using the D20. So it's OSR in a sense that it was kind of OSR before there was a serious attempt at doing retro clones.
Yeah.
With, with Osric, and it precedes Osric and Swords and Wizardry by several years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought this was a newer game.
It's kind of
I thought
under
maybe
the radar.
like 5. Maybe I forget we've been here 12, 13 years now. So maybe I forget. You know that like to me it was like they were just playing that so much just came out, but it was 10 years ago now. So that's funny. But what do you need to play? Just a player's handbook?
As a player, just a player's handbook is really
because the ones we have here seem to be the core, like player's handbook, adventures backpack, which I think is equipment and stuff.
It's a bunch of different things with that right now.
Yeah, backpacks for every campaign. That's cool.
Yep.
And then I got this Monster and Treasure. I think there's a DM guide.
There's a
too.
Castle Keepers.
Yes, Castle Keepers. Yes.
Book. Yep.
I just
but
didn't
really,
grab it.
yeah. I mean, other than basically the 3 core books, and you can play it.
Yeah, because we have a bunch of especially printed from before the old adventures, which I'm sure work with this one.
And they're always constly coming out with adventures and
yeah,
and new
I
stuff
add a few
all
things
the
here and
time.
there.
They have a considerable, and they have a very, I would say, rabid. Maybe not as well known, but a very dedicated crew of players.
They do
really into it. They have a organized play program.
Do they?
And they show up at a lot of the major conventions. They're at Gamehole Con. They're at Gary Con.
I see them.
I believe they're at Gen Con as well.
I've always seen them when I go places, so it's like it's not.
Yeah.
The game exists, and you're right about the player base because the guys that did play loved it, and they would talk about it all the time, like, oh, this is this and this is this, and that's why I ended up getting a whole line of it because it would come in and everything, and then it just kind of fell off. But once people, this was one of the top games up there to say alternative to D&D. If you want to play here, this was. I think it was top 5, probably maybe the top within the top 5 of the games that you should carry or try.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, let me get it. And then
it's local, and they print in the United States, so they're not going to have significant other than their materials that they source outside of the country. Although they source a lot of their materials in country as well.
Yeah,
and they have their own print shop, so they print a lot of their own stuff. Not all of it, but they do print most everything in their own shop. Or they get it printed close to them there in Arkansas, and they do a lot of their own distribution. So they're
that was on the other thing too. I was looking because then they had all that everybody's panic mode. I was like, all right, well, what's here that I can get? That's just to be sure. And this came up as one local, printed here. I'm like, okay, and like I said, I call them up within a few days. I had the stuff.
Yeah,
so
they're very responsive. They've been very, very reliable company. They've actually, there was a couple Kickstarters that kind of looked like they weren't going to get completed, and the pledge, the supporters were going to be out the money, and Trollord Games stepped in and said, hey, the money's still sitting in a bank account. They've just sort of spun out on on finishing the project and getting everything done. We have the know-how and the resources. We're going to take it over and we're going to get it out. Okay. And they've done that a couple times. So they're super reliable, super just. I expect them to be around for a long time.
Well, if they're around for 20 years, they're probably going to be around. It's not a big deal. So longer than him.
I'm a little older.
That's cool. Yeah, we have this here in stock, and then if they have a program, an organized play, they should contact me so I can get some of that going. Or if somebody's playing Castles Crusades in the Cleveland area and they want to come on in and get a night going, give us a call because we'll be here. Well, thanks, Travis, for giving us this spiel on it. And,
you're welcome.
Any last words?
Nope. I would say what's great about Castles and Crusades is you can pull stuff out of your old AD&D collection.
Oh, you said they ran White Plume Mountain through this, right?
Yeah. You can seamless.
And we're able to run old stuff right in it, no problem.
See, now I want to play White Plume Mountain. It's a terrible. It's a good module. It's like one of the few good, not few good. They're classic. It's good.
Yep.
I always picture White Plume Mountain, those two big, at the end, the two big
Yep.
genie guys that just beat you down. You won! Bah, 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 bah. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert. Anyway, all right, guys, if you like what you saw, you like what you heard, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We're almost at 2,000, and hopefully
Almost.
When this,
Thank you,
hopefully when
guys.
this comes out,
Thank you,
we'll
guys.
be at 2,000. You hear that? Crazy,
We will.
right?
Because of Travis's appearance, we will be at 2,000.
Yes, he'll get it. He'll push it over the edge, and we'll be happy.
And thank you, Carlos, for spoiling White Plume Mountain for everybody, including me.
All right, guys.